Hey Thunderbirds! Well, today we're going to have some fun mixing colors. And earlier in this lesson we talked about the abstract painter Wassily Kandinsky, and so we're going to combine his use of random shapes and colors with color mixing and come up with a really cool painting today. So let's cover some of the basics first. So we're going to be using in class, we're going to be using tempera cakes like this. Clear Connection students, you might have watercolors, you might have tempera cakes or tempera paints, whatever you have. If you just have markers and water, that will work. You can color in with markers and then paint water on top of that with a paintbrush or a Q-tip and move that ink around, and it'll be just very similar to paint. However you're doing it, be sure that in between colors that you rinse your paintbrush out so that you don't mix the colors where you don't want them. It's very important. So we're going to be focusing on just yellow, red, and blue because those are the primary colors. So we're going to, I want you to specifically do three things. I want you to, at some point on your paper, I want you to mix yellow and red to make orange. I want you to mix yellow and blue to make green, and I want you to mix blue and red to make purple. So that's part of what you have to do today is in mixing those colors together. I want you to use these three primary colors to make the three secondary colors. So let me show you how it's done. All right, to start off with, I'm going to make three different shapes. Circle, triangle. I'm going to let them overlap because I think that looks more interesting. And a rectangle. Then I'm going to mix my colors in those shapes. So first I'm going to wet my paintbrush. I'm going to get some yellow. If you're using tempera cakes, you have to get your paintbrush wet first and then rub it on the tempera cake, and that will make wet paint on your paintbrush. And I'm going to paint my circle yellow. You don't have to paint your circle yellow, but whatever shape you want to make. Then I'm going to rinse my paintbrush out so it's clean again. And I'm going to rub my wet paintbrush on the blue to load my paintbrush with blue paint. And I'm going to paint over the yellow and make green. If yours turns out a little too blue, you could always go back over it with more yellow. You can change that up a little bit. I think I want a little bit more yellow, so I'm going to rinse the blue out so I don't get blue on my yellow paint cake. Get more yellow and add that. That's a little bit prettier green. I'm going to rinse out my paintbrush, and since I've already got my blue wet, I'm going to go ahead and load my paintbrush with blue paint. I'm going to try to avoid letting the two paints touch. Oh, too late, they touched. Once wet paint touches, it tends to blend, but I think it's going to be okay. Then I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off and then get some red paint. I'll put that on my blue to make purple. And if your paints merge a little bit like what's happening here, it's okay. In fact, it's probably going to look awesome, so don't worry about it. The most important thing is that you are learning to mix the colors. I rinse my paintbrushes. I'm going to add a little bit more blue back on here because this purple's redder than I wanted it to be. You can adjust it depending on how much exactly what kind of purple or green or orange that you want. And so I've got green and I've got purple, so now I'm going to get red on my paintbrush. I'm going to paint this last shape red and then turn it orange by adding, what do I add to make it orange? Red, and what makes orange? Who knows? That's right, yellow. Rinse off the red, get some yellow, and make some orange. So for the rest of this painting, for all this white area around my shapes, I'm going to add some other shapes and lines, and I'm just going to color it and have fun mixing colors while I'm doing it. But these three shapes, I want to stay green, purple, and orange, because those are our secondary colors, and I want to make sure that you guys know what they are and how to make them. A bit more blue. Alright, so I'm going to speed up the rest of it, and then we'll finish up. And that should conclude your color mixing Wassily Kandinsky abstract painting, and it should look amazing. And one more thing you can do after it dries is you can trace your shapes and your lines and all the cool stuff you added with a black marker or Sharpie or black color pencil, and it will really pop and look fantastic, and maybe even like need to be framed and put on the wall. That'd be so pretty. Have fun with that. Be sure you have mixed those three colors, green, orange, and purple, and then have fun with the rest of it. And that's it.